Hello and welcome to Miniature Realms, and welcome to a new project vlog. So project vlog number 1 for Wars of the Roses. So if you are an existing subscriber and you're thinking, oh, he said he wasn't going to do any more projects for a while because he wanted the existing ones done. Yeah, I kind of failed a little bit in that, but it's something that should be fairly easy to do. We'll talk about that a little bit more when I describe the way it's going to be planned out, really. But just give it a bit of context. There's quite a few people that are starting Wars of the Roses army at the moment, linked to YouTube channels or watchers of YouTube channels who I know watch multiple channels. So there's 4 podcasts together who record something called the Plastic Crack podcast on a Monday night, and it's a live stream podcast that's they're able to watch afterwards. And we have Ken from Miniature Wargaming Warriors, we have Steve from On Point HQ, from Don from Boots on the Table, and Martin from Seventh Son. And then if we use the hashtag blame Martin, which if you were aware of that, you'll be maybe chuckling. If you're not, it won't really matter. But Martin on Seventh Son has done a large number of Wars of the Roses videos, so battle reports and painting guides and so on and so on. Lots of really good content there, and more people have kind of been drawn in by these fantastic videos that he's put out. In fact, I think if you search Wars of the Roses, his videos come up alongside historical documentaries and things at the moment. I'm talking about on YouTube here, obviously. So the hashtag blame Martin thing is partly to do with that, watchers of that podcast and in the comments during the live stream and things and on the videos. But all of the other 3 hosts of the podcast, I think, are now starting to collect armies themselves. Now they're all using 28mm Perry, which are beautiful, and I bought some, and I sat there and I was thinking, I really want to do this, but I want quite decent sized armies, really, and it's probably not going to work out with all the projects I've got going at the moment. And I fear that what would happen is I'd assemble a couple, paint the odd 1 or 2, and that'll be it. And while I don't mind a slow burn, like my bolt action project, when there's not all that many men to do, I don't want a slow burn project where there's hundreds and hundreds of miniatures to paint. I want to be bulk batch painting, and I just couldn't see where that was going to fit into my current lot of projects without stopping something else, and that was the last thing I was going to do, and I'm definitely not. So I was sitting there and I was scrolling through Instagram, and I followed Pendraken on Instagram, and I've ordered a few of their Napoleonics before, just to sort of have a little look at the scale and things, and looked very impressed. Looked at their other ranges on their website a few times, and funnily enough, their late medieval range was sort of popped up in my Instagram feed as a bit of an advert. I think they just sort of two photos, and I'll pop those on the screen now. I was just looking at them thinking, these look great, and I do like smaller scale stuff. I've done that with the Epic ACW. I've got lots of plans to do smaller scale Napoleonics when the Epic ACW is out of the way, and maybe other conflicts and periods as well. So a lot of my historical gaming may well end up being sort of 10 or 15 mil. So I thought, well, that could be the answer. I can still do my Wars of the Roses project and scratch that itch, and make it something that's actually manageable. And some of the units are going to be incredibly easy to paint very quickly, especially at 10 mils. Even going to be even easier than painting the Epic ACW stuff for Warlord, which is incredibly detailed, which actually makes it a bit slower than you expect. But these guys are detailed enough, but also I think they'll be fairly easy to batch paint quite quickly, and that'll be the idea, is that this project doesn't take forever, and doesn't kind of put me off doing the things I'm already doing too much. So that was the journey there. And then those of you who watch the Epic ACW stuff will know that I picked a big battle to kind of as an initial focus, in order to build my collections around, and then I can use them for other things afterwards. And for that I picked Antietam, and a large section of it. And for this one I thought, well, originally I was going to base it around a personality. My dad was doing some family tree research and thought we may be related to a couple of barons, and we're not sure now, so I've decided not to go down that route anyway. So the secondary thing was, well, I live in Gloucester in the UK, a very short drive from Tewkesbury. It's all part of the same county. We were really close, and there was a very well known battle there in 1471, and I've been a few times to the reenactments. It's a fantastic weekend. They put on loads of stuff, so it's already part of the, part of my family enjoyment, taking the boys there. So it's a battle that already interests me anyway. And I thought, well, the battle site's really close. I can even get over there and walk around the battle site. And I know that someone else, I think, what was I watching? Lazy Pirate Painting, I believe, is another YouTube channel I watched his videos. He walked around the battle site, and I believe he's working on a Battle of Tewkesbury project as well in 15mm Peterpig. So go and check those videos out as well if it's a period that interests you. But that's where I came to the conclusion anyway, that I was going to do a Battle of Tewkesbury project in 10mm because the smaller scale suited me. Anyway, that's a lot of rambling and a long time into the video just to sort of tell you what this project's all going to be about. So the next thing was about rules, and at 28mm I was going to use exactly the same rules that Martin was using, and I've decided not to change that, and it works just as well with smaller scales as well. So I'm going to be using Hail Caesar. Now Hail Caesar doesn't have any army lists for late medieval things really. I think it stops a little bit earlier. It definitely doesn't have any Wars of the Roses army lists. So the way around that was to basically copy what Martin's been doing. And Martin's done a really fantastic video on sort of how to start and how to war game Wars of the Roses, and I'm going to pop a link to that in the description as well for you guys to go and watch, because it's far better than my rambling. I'm no expert in this period. This is something I'm learning as I'm going along. If you want to sort of get a proper overview of how to start this period, then that video will be better to watch than this one. So he's using Hail Caesar. He's using an army list that he's adapted himself, but the original army list was by Rick Priestley, so obviously the author of Hail Caesar, and he wrote it for a game that he was running with the Perrys, and it's actually on the Perry's Facebook page, and I'll pop a link in for that as well. It's just a 2-pager, so that'll be the basis of the list. And then Martin and a friend who he's running a campaign with have been working on their own campaign rules and some additional rules to what Rick Priestley wrote as well. And I think Martin's planning on, when he's finished it, planning on sharing that out for people as well. So I will no doubt be using that once that becomes available. So those of you who don't know Hail Caesar, it's sort of in the same vein as Black Powder and Pike and Shot, the command structure, a bit like War Master in many ways. So that's the kind of rules I'm going to be using. Simple rules that work well for easy play and to do big games without scratching your head too much. It's just the kind of gaming I like doing. I know that won't be for everyone. Some people prefer something that's a little bit more hyper realistic, but it is what it is. My joy in wargaming is painting and modelling and reading the history and then pushing toys around on the table afterwards. So I can't use the size bases that you would for 28mm, so I'm going to reduce it down a bit. So what I've actually picked up, I love Renedra, and I've seen that from a previous video. Now these are 40x20mm, and I'm going to be using 3 of these to form a mixed unit of bill and bow. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. Martin explains it very well on his video, why he's doing that. That'll be part of project vlog number 2 when I start showing you how they're going to be based up and a test paint base. That's the plan. So I won't go into too much more, but 40x20 is also the size that War Master uses. So it will mean that I'll be able to use this army for War Master Ancients should I want to. And I've had a little look at War Master Agents, and there are Wars of the Roses lists for that as well. They're a lot more complicated. There's a lot more kind of reference to different types of units, so sort of Shire troops, levied troops and trained troops and this and that. Hail Caesar's a lot more kind of encompasses more units all in together, so it will be a different kind of wargaming if I do decide to use War Master Ancients, but the initial plan will be to use Hail Caesar anyway. And Wars of the Roses are difficult. It's not like when you look at American Civil War or Napoleonics, which are 2 periods I'm more familiar with. You can't go and find a quite good order of battle, and then sometimes you can find exact numbers of men in each unit before the battle. That doesn't exist for this period. You get a muster, and then sometimes the muster will only give you a kind of a very vague idea of how many thousand bowmen were there. You really have no idea. You get an idea of some of the knights that might be there, and the commanders of each of the divisions, but that's about it really. So it's pretty vague, and so it would be very hard to reflect anything in a very realistic manner anyway. So I quite like the idea of the mixed units. But as I said, we'll talk about that more in vlog number 2. And if you haven't watched Martin's video, or you don't know much about how you can use Hail Caesar for Wars of the Roses, watching the way he does it will give you the answer of how I'm going to do it as well. And then, so where do we go after that? So I've got my models, they've arrived today. A few days ago I spent a lot of time looking at flags, and 10mm Wars of the Roses flags turned out to be a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. So Pendra can do their own small set, but that's all they do. So I ordered those at the same time as I ordered my miniatures. They look okay, look great for that size. They're not going to have all of the flags, the liveries, the standards that I need for the personalities that I want to cover at the Battle of Tewkesbury. So I spent some time actually emailing David Lanchester, who does the freezing water flags with the Lance and Longbow Society, and they do 15mm and 28mm. So I spoke to him a little bit about them. I said, how big are they going to be? Are they going to be too big? And he suggested that, you know, as long as it's for my own personal use, which of course it would be, I could look at reducing the size. So copying them down and keeping these as masters for myself. If I do that, obviously I won't be sharing those things, but I might speak to a local printer and see if they will do that, and they will just go with them at their larger size. I've already checked them against the size of the flagpoles, and that they would fit on. So it's about whether they looked oversized or not. No doubt that will be a discussion in a future vlog, because it'll be a little while off before I'm sticking all the flags on. But basically I went and ordered a set for anyone that would have been at the Battle of Tewkesbury. There's a lot of flag sheets there. I think I spent about £30 on flags. So they're all done and dusted. They are beautiful flags and I want to use them. I did look at a couple of other places, but they're either not in stock or not in the right size. There was Wargames Designs advertised them, and they do 10mm flags, and I messaged them, and he actually replied a few days afterwards to say that they were going on the website, but that was after I'd ordered those. So I may look back at those and pick up some of those as well. And then it sort of brings me on to the reading, literature, etc., of the things I need for the project. I picked up a few things. Now there's the obvious, I'll put some images on the screen, there's the obvious Osprey guide. I bought that digitally to flick through. You've got the Tewkesbury Eclipse of the House of Lancaster book, which is very good. I've flicked through some of that. There was this one here, which is by the Lance and Longbow Society, so you get from the same places you get your freezing water flags. Battle of Tewkesbury, and there's 2 sections. There's an account of the battle by Patrick McGill, which is reads really nicely. It's not too long, it's a lovely idea, and a roll of arms by Geoffrey Wheeler, and that's fantastic. It's the closest I've been able to come to a muster. And basically what you've got is the name of each of the lords or the knights, the barons, etc., that were there, and as much information as about them, and then where they know what it is, coat of arms, livery, etc., as well, and when they don't know, there may be a description of it. So it just gives me a little bit more information as well. So if I want to add some personalities in there, I can do. Obviously I won't be representing every single one at this scale, but I can definitely add a little bit of flavour in there. So this has actually been more of a read book than some of the bigger, more expensive publications, but it's been good. I've also been listening to some audiobooks as well. I always find audiobooks help me kind of get my head into a period. I appreciate the reliability of historical fiction. The same when I read Sharp, the same when I read some of the loads of the American Civil War novels and things that I read. I get it. It's not all accurate. It's done for dramatic effect or to keep the story going, but it definitely helps me understand a period a little bit and kind of being able to imagine the period. So I always try to sort of navigate towards boards, those kind of things, while I'm working on a new project. So I've been listening to Con Eagledon's books. I'm on the third one at the moment, and I got a few lined up as well. So there's the Kingmaker series by Toby Clements, and then I also found a couple more Wars of the Roses ones by a guy called Derek Burks, and I'm not that familiar with him before, but they're all kind of in my wish list on Audible at the moment, so I will pop them on when I'm working on this project, no doubt. So I bought a fair bit to start with. I don't want to kind of bore you all with too much information about what I may or may not have purchased, because I will cover that when I do a bit of a review. But I bought there's Retinue Billman, there's Chevy there's Shire Levy longbows, and some more Billman and surcoats, and some command groups and all kinds of things. I missed out a couple of things that I needed, which I've just ordered. So I needed some more longbows, and I needed some more dismounted knights. I forgot them to order them for some reason. I've ordered far too many cannon. I must have been drunk, and it was late, and I was tired, or both, and I ordered 6 packs of cannons rather than 6 cannons. So I think there's 3 in a set, so I've got about 18 cannon. I think I've got 18 cannon, which is going to be far more than I need, but hey ho, at least I'm not going to run out. But it doesn't look like a lot, and it's not very exciting to show you, but it is like that. So I'll pop a couple more individual images of some of the things I've bought on the screen, but we'll discuss those more in a later video, because I'm going to do a short review of the Pendragon range that you can use for Wars of the Roses, because other people may find it interesting. But that's it really. It's as usual, my vlog videos are a little bit longer than some of the others, so hopefully you're still watching and you haven't fallen asleep yet. I'm hoping this is going to be quite an easy project. So much of these miniatures will be armour, so the stuff that's very heavily sort of armour based, I'm going to be able to kind of paint them a lot quicker than some of the other things. I'm going to be using contrast as well at times to speed up the process, and the idea is to make nice looking miniatures that sort of stand out from the tabletop, but they're not going to be painting any eyes on any of this. It's going to be using contrast for the flesh, and probably painting the armour in, and then maybe going and painting the surcoat in with a white or a grey, and then using contrast to put the colours and things. And I definitely won't be painting the individual kind of lions and things on people's liveries. They're going to be either blank with just colour at this scale, or it's going to be a little squiggle or something or other, and I'll let the colour be there on the flags and things. So I'm confident I've got in my mind's eye, I've got a good way of doing this, and it shouldn't take too long. That's the plan. I'm not going to rush it out in a couple of weeks, because I've got lots of other projects I want to do as well, but the idea is that it won't take up so much time that it derails everything else. But anyway, that's the end of the first vlog video for the Wars of the Roses. I wanted to explain what it's all about and what you can expect soon. So the next couple of videos, there will be a vlog number 2 when I do the initial kind of basing and work out how I'm going to do it. I'm thinking probably 10 minutes just to a base, but I want to play around with it, and I will talk a little bit more then again about how Hail Caesar is going to work with the mixed bill and bow units. I'm going to use the same as Martin has, for those of you that obviously not interested enough to go and watch other people's videos, though I'm sure if you're watching this you would have probably be well aware of Martin's Wars of the Roses things and probably prefer those to this. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I will catch you soon on another video.